Shoot them down. That's what President Donald Trump suggested we do with these drones, these mystery drones buzzing New Jersey every single night for the last 2 weeks. Shoot them down. Technically, he said shot them down. In his first Truth Social post, he wrote, mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know, and now, otherwise, shot them down. DJT. And this happens to me too. So it's not, I'm happy to know that the most powerful man in the world also makes typos on his posts, because every now and then I'll go on X and I'll post something and then I'll get a message from my wife going, you've got a typo. Delete that right now. You look ridiculous. And I imagine Donald Trump's wife does the same thing, because he deleted that post and he replaced it with this one that says, I don't think so. Let the public know, and now, otherwise, shoot them down. It may not have been his wife. It may have been one of his many high-profile and powerful staff members, but I digress. The drones are a serious problem, and what's a bigger problem is nobody in the federal government seems to know what they are, or they're not telling us, or they just don't care, and it doesn't matter anyway because none of them are taking any action to stop them. And they're accumulating by the day, it seems. Alejandro Mayorkas, who is the Homeland Security Secretary, who has also been, I'd like to point out, impeached, but is still in office. Alejandro Mayorkas was on CNN basically talking about how inept the government is.
President-elect Donald Trump, he just called on the Biden administration for you guys to either release any information it has about these mysterious drone sightings or shoot the drones out of the sky. How do you respond to the president-elect?
Well, first of all, the statements I've made already are the principal message that I want to communicate to the American public. We haven't seen anything unusual. We know of no threat. Secondly, we have gone to Congress repeatedly asking for more authority to counter drone activity. And we have also asked for more authority to give to the state and local officials under our supervision, because he correctly notes those authorities need to be expanded.
Okay, so in true fashion, he says, we haven't seen anything unusual. 50 drones flying around the night sky in New Jersey, coming off of the ocean, low over people's homes, over our military establishments, over chemical plants, one flying very close to the governor's mansion in Maryland the other night. That's not unusual at all. Really? Is it typical for drones to be flying around some of the most densely populated areas in the country? That's nice to know that that's not unusual or threatening. And number two, he's blaming Congress for this. We'd love to take action, but we don't have the authority to do so. We actually just can't shoot drones out of the sky.
Number two, it's not as though anyone can just take down a drone in the sky. That in and of itself would be dangerous.
Do you have the authority to shoot down drones?
Our authorities are very limited. That is precisely why we have gone to Congress to expand those authorities. Our authorities are limited by the United States Coast Guard in the maritime environment, the United States Secret Service in its protection of our national leaders, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection with respect to the border. We have various authorities that are discrete to the particular missions. We can't just shoot a drone out of the sky.
I feel like you could shoot a drone out of the sky. In fact, here in Florida, just last week, a 66-year-old man who was cleaning out his pool saw a Walmart drone flying too close to his house, pulled out a 9mm and shot it right out of the sky. I think it's a lot easier than they think. But the problem is that Alejandro Mayorkas doesn't want to shoot these drones out of the sky, and he's making really ridiculous excuses for why the government's not doing it. For example, he said that these drones that are flying around in the sky, they could just be from Wawa.
We believe that there are cases of mistaken identity where drones are actually small aircraft and people are misidentifying them. There very well may be drones in the sky, of course, but those are commercially available. One can go into a convenience store and buy a small drone. There are also commercial drones as well.
Is that true? You can just walk into a convenience store in New Jersey and say, yeah, let me get a pack of Newports and a Kit Kat and that high capacity drone over there the size of a Land Rover. Is that what's happening up in New Jersey? You can get these things at a convenience store? I don't think the American public are buying that. I'll tell you who's not buying it. Martha McCallum from Fox News, who had John Kirby, the most worthless spokesperson for any government agency or organization ever. I got to tell you, this guy gets smarmier by the day. John Kirby gets caught in lie after lie, presumably, while he's talking to Fox News. Listen to how uncomfortable he is and how few answers he has for Martha McCallum, who railroads him consistently.
Do you know and you can't say? Can you tell me that?
No, I'm telling you, Martha, I'm telling you, we don't.
You don't know.
We
let me ask you this.
Corroborate every single sighting. Some of them we have, not all of them, and we're working hard to do that. We know people are afraid of it. We know people have concerns. We have those same concerns.
Yeah, because they're flying over your house, and it sounds like there are motorcycles landing on your roof.
This guy's saying we can't corroborate every drone sighting. You know why? Because there's hundreds of them. And that's not a concern. It should be concerning that there's way too many people calling in, way too many people spotting these drones, way too many people posting photos and videos on social media. And the fact that there's way too many drone sightings for you to corroborate is a problem. That's what's threatening, and that's what concerns people. If it were one or two that you couldn't corroborate, that's different. We're talking about in the thousands now for over a month or almost a month. And Martha McCallum, she ain't buying it.
Let me ask you this. One, person who watched this online said they think it's a Terradynamics Transwing Drone XP4.
Oh, by the way, you can just pick those up at the convenience store, according to Alejandro. Yeah, let me get that Transwing XP4 while I'm at it here.
Is being developed by the U.S. Navy as a recon and logistics drone capable of picking up and dropping off packages between land and moving ships in high seas and winds. They're suggesting it's an American company. We asked the company. They said we can't speculate on the origin of the drones that are flying over New Jersey. So is that an avenue that has been inspected? Is this a private company that is practicing something? And wouldn't they have to clear something with somebody to have this kind of activity?
It could very well be, as I said, these could be commercially developed drones of some kind.
Why not just take one down and figure out what's going on?
That's a great idea. Look at that. Donald Trump says shoot one down. Wolf Blitzer saying shoot one down. Martha McCallum saying shoot one down. Here's John Kirby's excuse as to why that is not feasible.
Okay, the idea of taking something down, again, you want to worry about public safety. First of all, we don't have enough conclusions to take that kind of a policy action. But let's just assume for a minute, Martha, that we did. I mean, you're not going to want to shoot something down where it could hit somebody's house or hurt somebody.
Well, the Coast Guard says that there are 30 of them following one of their ships in the ocean. So would that work?
I mean, again, we have to develop the policy options based on what we know we're dealing with here, and we just don't know enough to make those to take those kinds of actions. But
the disgust in Martha McCallum's voice when she says "wow" is just like, wow. What do you mean, John? What are you doing, dude? You have a Coast Guard ship, a military vessel in the ocean with 30 drones chasing it, and they can't shoot them out of the sky over the ocean waters where the only thing you're maybe going to hit is an errant dolphin or a tuna, maybe an octopus, maybe Ursula as she's stealing the voice box out of Ariel. I don't know what you're going to hit, but I feel like it's going to be a lot safer and a lot less of a threat to public safety if you're shooting drones out over the sky. I know a guy who hits golf balls into the ocean. Nobody seems to care about that. Why can't you take a drone out if it's off the coast? Keep in mind, these are the same people that were afraid to shoot down a balloon when it was flying over Montana. A balloon. Balloons don't crash land into anyone's homes, but they didn't want to take that chance, so they let it fly out over the entire country, exit South Carolina and the Myrtle Beach area, and then when it was safely offshore, they shot it down. Turned out to be a Chinese spy balloon. The Chinese said it was a weather balloon. They got all mad, and we gave it back. I think in the end, we're probably going to find something similar happening. Maybe it's a Chinese drone. Maybe these drones were developed in China, because it seems like China is one of the few countries that could create this kind of drone technology in this kind of mass quantity and have them flying around our coastline without anybody really seeming to be able to figure out where they came from. And he knows that the current administration is not gutsy enough to shoot them right out of the sky and evaluate them further. How does he know that? Well, because they didn't shoot their weather balloons out of the sky. Why on earth would they shoot their drones? What's next? Armed fighters with nuclear warheads on them? There was a News Nation report from a guy who went, a couple nights ago, and he looked at these drones and he said, I reported on this story from afar, but once I got into it, it really changed my idea of it. And it's much worse than you may even think.
When this story first came out a few weeks ago, as a resident of New Jersey, as a journalist, I didn't pay it much credence. I thought it would turn out to be a bunch of pranksters and this would all be over by now. The experience I had last night, however, changed the way I feel about this story completely. What I saw was more sophisticated than I ever imagined. Take a look.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 lights, 6 lights.
I didn't believe what I was seeing. But what was I seeing? We're here in central Jersey. We've been looking for the past hour. I think we've seen about 40 or 50 of these drones. In fact, there's one over my shoulder right there. One after another, these drones appeared in the night sky. If you look real close, they look like fixed-wing aircraft, about 8 to 10 feet wide, colorful, white blinking lights.
That is not a plane.
Definitely not an airplane, but what was it? Hours earlier, I was invited to join the Ocean County Sheriff Department. They launched their own drones to see if they could intercept the mysterious aircraft New Jersey residents have been reporting in recent weeks. The department says these mystery drones evade detection because they don't give off heat like regular drones. Why do you think that is?
We don't know. It's just something that we haven't, it's not something that we've had our hands on. It's not something that we've experienced.
Okay, so news. This is news. This is news to everybody. Not only are these drones flying around New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, but they evade detection because they don't give off heat like regular drones. These are stealth drones. These are drones that cannot be checked with heat-seeking technology. They cannot be tracked by their heat output because for some reason they're encased in some kind of, heat-proof sensitive carbonite material. Who knows? But the fact that these are irregular drones with the capability to evade detection by traditional tracking devices, you're not getting that at the convenience store, Alejandro Mayorkas, and it's time to take one of these down to find out where it came from, because I guarantee you this is no longer a hobbyist. This is a foreign object, multiple foreign objects, dozens of foreign objects in the United States of America that are more sophisticated than anything any of us have ever seen.
They hadn't experienced until now. One of their officers called 911 after seeing 50 of them come off the ocean.
Advised after we made contact with that officer that there were 50 that came off the ocean.
50?
50. That was my reaction also. There were 50 that were coming off the ocean.
And this is a sworn officer?
A sworn officer, yes. We contacted state police, we contacted the FBI, we contacted the Coast Guard, at which point the Coast Guard went out with their boat and they reported seeing 13 following their boat, and then the Coast Guard also advised that they went over them about 300 feet and had a wingspan of about 8 feet.
A wingspan of 8 feet, 13 of them chasing that Coast Guard ship. Those were the ones that Martha McCallum was talking about earlier. These are multiple, expensive, high capacity, high volume, very large, heat-free, with anti-radar detection materials, whatever, drones flying around the United States of America. And Joe Biden is doing nothing about it. Alejandro Mayorkas is doing nothing about it. The Pentagon is doing nothing about it. This is troubling. We have not just an invasion at the southern border, but now we have an invasion of the skies in New England. And the government is allowing it to happen. January 20th cannot come soon enough. And if these drones are still around on January 20th, I'm with Donald Trump. Shut them down. If you enjoyed this content in this video and you want to see more like it, then do me a solid. Do yourself a solid. Hit like, subscribe, and most importantly, that notification bell. That way you're going to get told every single time we upload new content, and we upload new content a lot. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more from us here at Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. Do it now.